down in South Carolina, but I'm not up here tonight or tomorrow as a state senator. I'm here as an American citizen. And on the way up, I've become technologically savvy in the last year or so, and I've got a Facebook page. And I was twittering on the way up in the bus about things that we were doing and things we were watching on the television and all the buses that we saw coming up. And there were a lot of comments, and I've got over 1,000 Facebook friends. So a lot of people are commenting on, coming up here to Washington, D.C., this notion of, walking up to the Capitol and airing your grievances. And a very good friend of mine said, in response to some people who were criticizing me, that why don't you just let Tom have some fun? I mean, politics ought to be fun. And I'm responding back, I'm not up here having fun. That's not why I came up here. I mean, yeah, we will have fun, and I think there's a lot of camaraderie, and there's a lot of solidarity, and I met a lot of new friends on the bus today, but I'm not up here for fun. I didn't take a day off from work and get on a bus and come for 10 hours for fun. I'm up here for the reasons I think you're up here. There is a growing sense, I think, in the American people that in the last 200 plus days, we have really started to lose something that makes us unique as Americans. And I do believe in American exceptionalism. I think this country is different. I'm not a citizen of the world. I'm a citizen of the United States. And I think sometimes we forget just how unique we are. I mean, we are the first nation in history whose founding documents, the Declaration, the Constitution, are predicated upon the notion that individuals have the right to pursue happiness, that individuals exercising their liberty and trying to achieve excellence is the mechanism whereby society as a whole improves. That's unique in the history of mankind. That is truly unique. We're not European. We don't have a history of divine right of kings, where power comes down from above. We don't have in America, and never had, and hopefully never will have, a caste system, an aristocracy, where people educated at elite universities are sent up to make decisions for us in regard to education, or health care, or safety, or any number of things. We are a nation whose government has limited functions. Our Constitution gives limited powers to the federal government, very specific and limited powers. And if they're not enumerated, the 10th Amendment clearly says they are reserved to the people. And that's intentional. That's intentional because government is only given the power to do that which our founders intended it to do, which is secure the blessing of liberty for the people, so that the people can exercise their right, their choices. And that has made us the wealthiest, most prosperous, most generous, happy nation in the entire history of man. And I don't understand the generation of people now coming into power in politics who want to change the very foundations upon which this nation was created. I mean, change can be good, but when you're talking about changing the bedrock foundations upon which this nation was founded, that ain't good. And that's what we're successful see the disdain with which the ruling class views ordinary people just by virtue of what happened last month in the town halls. People show up and they're angry. They're angry at the bailouts. They're angry at the cap and trade. They're angry at the nationalization of health care. They're angry at the government getting itself involved in corporate policy, whereby you take over major corporations, tell the shareholders that this is what's going to happen. Bondholders get 10 cents on the dollar, and the union and the federal government ends up owning 90% of our largest corporation. I can't believe this is happening in America. No. And I think people are seeing, and it's a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because I see a gentleman who's sitting next to me. We're seeing before our eyes the disintegration of the American idea. That's the bad news. The good news is it is so stark, it is so obvious, that people are starting to realize it, and they're starting to sit up and say, hey, wait a minute. I mean, this isn't progress. This isn't America. This isn't change I can believe in. This is destroying a country that was drafted and conceived by the most remarkable people in American in the history of man in my mind. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and George Washington, and Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. All these guys, by some miracle, I believe, were in one place at one time in a new land and came up with something so revolutionary, and it's passed down to us to keep. Ronald Reagan said, liberty isn't genetic, okay? It isn't passed down through birth. You have got to instill it in the next generation or it dies. And once that flame of liberty dies, you can't rekindle it. It's hard to rekindle it. It is unique. And I think people in America are sensing this urgency. I'm not up here for fun. I'm up here because Kate's right. They need to see our faces. They need to see our faces. Now, I hear a lot on the news that the Republican Party or the conservative movement have lost their way. They don't know exactly what they stand for anymore. They're in disarray. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that's 100% wrong. Because for the first time that I really got actively involved in politics, we're not arguing around the margins about tax reform here, or tort reform there, or vouchers here. These are all good policy things, and that's great. But we're getting down to the bedrock thing, I think, that really separates the Republican Party and those who are conservative from those who aren't. And that's this notion that our country is great. We have the best chance for happiness when individuals are given liberty and freedom, and government exists to protect those liberties and freedom. And we move away from that idea when we pay more taxes and we let federal government annex more and more responsibilities for adulthood, taking care of the elderly, taking care of health care, taking care of child care, taking care of pretty much everything that's of any substance. We're changing, we're reforming the relationship between the citizen and their government. Government exists to protect the blessings of liberty. Government exists to protect life, liberty, and to allow the pursuit of happiness. Government doesn't exist to solve all our problems. Government isn't made up of a bunch of people educated in Ivy League schools up there who are smarter than us, deciding for us what's in our best interest. That's not what we are. That may be what your business becomes, but that's not what we are. And I can tell you why I'm up here. I'm not up here for fun. I'm up here to protest this. I'm in the state Senate to fight this, and it's going to take the people. It's going to take the people demanding that change and reminding our leaders that America is unique, and America is exceptional, that America is founded on these revolutionary principles, and that if we're not mindful, we'll lose it. That's why I'm up here, and I'm glad that's why